Hey everybody, Greg here with a bit of an update on what's going on. You've probably picked up on a lot of this if you've been following my Twitter account, but if not, let me get you up to speed. This last week has been interesting, to say the least. First, and most immediately relevant to this channel, this computer that I'm on right now is making its death rattles. I kinda needed to replace it years ago, but I've kept it together with spiritual bubblegum and duct tape. Now, though, it's freezing and blue screening all the time, and it doesn't like to run more complex functions outside of Word documents and Google Chrome. This includes my video editing software, which is crashing a lot lately, especially with more complex projects that include video sources. So, it's time to retire this thing. I have gone ahead and purchased a new PC, and I am now waiting for it to arrive. The shipping estimate is at the end of the week, but who knows exactly when. But even after that, I have to figure out what kind of operating system I want to run it with. I don't really want to stick with the pre-installed Windows 8, but it seems going down to Windows 7 is pretty difficult if you don't have the right version, and it doesn't seem like they've ironed out all the bugs in Windows 10 yet. Then I have to get copies of my software and transfer files, and yeah, it's going to be a chore. So until this is getting set up, the only video projects I can reasonably finish are those with minimal moving parts. So August might end up being the month of breaking spines. By the way, this is the reason I set up my Patreon as the per video plan instead of the per month plan. I didn't want to end up in a situation where I wasn't producing any content, but you were still sending money. I don't want to become a weird, do-nothing-for-money Twitter hermit like the Spoonie experiment. I do want to apologize for these delays, especially for people who have made requests and have been waiting over a year to see their videos go up. I simply can't do any of that until this computer situation is fixed, but I promise to go full steam ahead once it is. Thank you all again for your patience and support. Now, the computer isn't cheap, so how are things going on the job front? Well, I got one, and then lost it almost immediately. I started a new job with the Salvation Army on Monday the 10th, and it looked like it was going to work out. More or less the same job I had at my old thrift store job, and with the addition of my video work, I was in a state where I could support myself again. Then, the Northwest caught on fire. There's a lot of fires going on in Washington, Oregon, and Idaho, one of which started in Orofino, Idaho on Friday the 21st. My parents and my disabled sister both live there, and due to my parents having been on vacation at the time and a few communication errors, I took it upon myself to make sure everyone was safe and the house, which sat about a half a mile from the fire line, wasn't in danger. Come Saturday, I had to work, but I asked the shift supervisor if I could leave early because of the fire issues. I arranged some compromises, including to agree to wait till the second shift came in, but then, 20 minutes before I was set to leave, it was discovered that my shift supervisor didn't actually have the authority to let me go early, and the district manager was called over it. He said I had to stay the whole day. I told them that I had no intention to quit, but they were putting me in a job versus family situation, and to cut a long story short, I was fired. Hey, I've never been fired before. I can strike that off my bucket list. So now I'm unemployed again, which would be okay, except I made a few financial decisions under the assumption that I would remain employed, like, for example, buying an expensive computer. Well, ain't no going back now. Oh, and yes, my family and their house is fine. The fire's still burning, but unless there's some major change in the weather, their stuff isn't threatened. So at least there's some good news out of this. So, sum up, life's gotten a lot more complicated, and I can't foresee how those complications are going to affect the channel. Again, thank you for all the patience you've shown thus far, and I ask you to have a little more until things get sorted. Thank you.